They left everything familiar because your soul felt like home. You didn't steal them, you awakened them. Their vows broke at your name. You are the reason they couldn't fake forever. They prayed for peace. Your face came instead. You weren't temptation. You were truth. Their divorce was not destruction, it was direction. They heard God louder when they were near you. They left comfort to chase covenant. The lie ended when you entered the picture. You weren't the end. You were the escape. You didn't break the marriage. You broke the silence. They saw eternity in your silence. You spoke to the part of them their spouse ignored. Their soul came alive when yours whispered yes. You never asked them to leave. Love did. Their body stayed, but their spirit followed you. They divorced because home should never feel like prison. You reminded them they were still worthy of wonder. Their love for you refused to die in hiding. It wasn't infatuation, it was recognition. They left the ceremony, but kept the calling. You didn't destroy a marriage. You revealed a mask. Their spouse had their schedule. You had their soul. Some divorces are sacred. Yours was the reason. They chose destiny over duty. You weren't plan B. You were the buried prayer. They knew the truth and could no longer stay a lie. The paperwork freed what their spirit already knew. Your love made loyalty to lies unbearable. They left a spouse to find a soulmate. Their wedding band held no light until you shined. They felt more married to you than the one they vowed to. You were never the other person. You were the original prayer. They walked out because their spirit walked in with you. You didn't seduce. You summoned. Their exit was messy, but their love for you was clear. You didn't ruin a union. You restored a self. They chose you in spirit before they chose you in court. Their spouse had the house. You had the heartbeat. You loved them in places their partner never reached. Their hands were tired of holding lies. They found God again when they found you. Your presence made falsehoods too loud. You were not the scandal. You were the signal. They didn't run from someone. They ran to you. Your silence held more honesty than their vows. You were the answer before they ever asked the question. The divorce was the doorway to your destiny. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Comment your favorite quote and subscribe for more. They didn't lose love, they located it. The love wasn't wrong, just misplaced. You didn't take their heart. You returned it. They were never fully present until they met you. What they faked for years, they found in your first glance. You weren't an affair. You were an awakening. They undressed their truth before they ever touched you. The papers meant nothing. Your name did. They divorced in body long before they met you. Their partner had their patterns. You had their purpose. They didn't fall out of love. They rose into it with you. What began in shame ended in sacred shift. You didn't steal anything. They surrendered everything. Your energy unmasked their entire life. They divorced a story. You offered them a scripture. The guilt nearly drowned them. Your love kept them breathing. You didn't ask them to choose. Their soul already had. They didn't want freedom. They wanted you. They left legality to live truth. You weren't the temptation. You were the teacher. They weren't leaving love. They were following it. Their partner fed the flesh. You fed the spirit. They risked reputation to finally rest in realness. You weren't convenient, but you were undeniable. You broke every excuse they ever made to stay stuck. They didn't belong to their past anymore. They belonged to you. They lost a spouse but found themselves with you. Your presence shattered every illusion. They came home to your name. You were the whisper they ignored for years. Their world collapsed. Then you kissed them back into clarity. You didn't ruin a union. You revealed a resurrection. The truth was too loud to stay married to lies. They didn't choose comfort. They chose calling. You weren't a mistake. You were the mirror. What ended wasn't sacred. What started with you is. They didn't cheat. They changed. You're not the rebound. You're the reason they rose. Their spirit cried out. Your name answered. They didn't just fall for you. They fell into truth. Your energy reminded them who they were. You weren't the fantasy. You were the freedom. They tore the old to make room for you. You were worth the war. You didn't ruin their life. You rescued it. They walked out not in sin, but in surrender. Your presence pulled the lie from their lungs. They left the familiar to touch the divine. You were the storm and the shelter. You didn't ask to be chosen. You were anointed. Their love for you was too honest to stay hidden. You didn't beg. They broke. They didn't run from vows. They ran into vision. Your name made peace impossible in their old life. Their silence screamed for you. They knew the moment they saw you, they couldn't stay. Your love ruined their ability to pretend. You made betrayal feel like bravery. You are why they finally told the truth. Their body was present. Their soul had left long ago. You didn't create the break. You became the bridge. They left because love is supposed to feel like this. You didn't chase them. You called them home. They weren't escaping marriage. They were escaping misalignment. Their spouse had their patterns. You had their prophecy. Your love cost them everything, but gave them eternity. They left logic to follow love. Your touch replaced years of emptiness. You were not an accident. You were the appointed. They unraveled in your arms and rebuilt. You didn't seduce them. You saved them. Their soul bloomed where it once withered. You brought color to a grayscale life. You reminded them what living felt like. Their divorce wasn't scandal. It was sacred rebellion. They broke tradition to touch truth. You were the prophecy they were afraid to fulfill. Your energy made comfort unbearable. They wept the night before they told you. Their new life began the moment they stopped hiding yours. You turned their breakdown into breakthrough. You weren't the end. You were the invitation. They whispered, finally, when they walked away. You didn't demand the crown. You proved the worth. They chose you before you ever looked their way. They let go of a lie to hold your truth. You didn't break their heart. You revealed its beat. Their body mourned. Their spirit rejoiced. You were never second choice, just sacred timing. Their marriage was the mask. You were the mirror. They prayed about leaving until God showed your name. The divorce was a doorway. You were already inside. You were the question and the answer. They left guilt. They chose grace, you. You are the freedom they'd never tasted before. No one understands. Heaven does. You were the yes they never had the courage to live. It wasn't scandal. It was sacred shift. Their spirit clung to you before their hands ever did. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. They broke a covenant to answer the call of your name, because destiny whispered louder than vows. You didn't steal love. You awakened it. They left not because of lack, but because your presence made truth unbearable. Marriage couldn't hold what their soul knew was still missing. You. You are the divine interruption they could no longer ignore. They cried at the altar, not for the vows, but for the lie. They smiled through their wedding, but their heart was mouthing your name. You were the hidden ache inside their every kiss. God let their marriage crumble so you could be built beside them. You didn't come between them. You came before them. They tried to forget you, even in bed, especially in bed. Their spouse felt it, that haunting pull toward you they couldn't name. No matter the rings, no vow was stronger than your spirit's imprint. You weren't temptation. You were truth. They didn't cheat with their body. They wandered with their soul. Their silence was loyalty to confusion. Their divorce was loyalty to you. Every "I do," they said, felt like a betrayal of the love meant for you. You didn't lure them. You reminded them. Their home was built on sand. Your name was the flood. They stayed married longer than they stayed honest. You never asked them to choose. Their heart did it for them. That goodbye they gave you years ago, it shattered every day since. Love doesn't always come first, but it always comes home. They divorced confusion, not commitment. You never needed to be better. You were simply the one. God let their foundation crack so their soul could escape to you. They loved their spouse, but they loved you with eternity. When they said forever, Your face flashed through their soul. Your presence became unbearable absence. That's why they left. They wrote vows to someone else, but their heart remained ensigned. Their marriage was noise. You were the quiet that brought clarity. Even while married, they mourned losing you. The altar was silent, but your spirit stood there screaming. They chose wrong, but they're choosing again, with God watching this time. Love didn't break their marriage. Denial did. It wasn't infidelity. It was inevitability. Your love was never chaos. It was the map out. They prayed for peace. Your name came in the answer. They left everything, not for lust, but for legacy. They didn't run from marriage. They ran toward purpose with you. They lit a candle every night for the one they couldn't touch, you. Their spouse had their body, but you had their forever. You weren't their escape. You were their truth returning. Every fight they had was a ghost of your name haunting the walls. They divorced a mirror and chose the soul. They lost everything to gain one thing, your touch. The courts handled the papers. Heaven handled the real bond. They stopped surviving and finally chose to live in your love. They didn't break a promise. They broke a pattern. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. They were loyal to pain until your love made healing possible. Their marriage ended, but your name never did. They couldn't finish their vows because you never left their spirit. Their spouse could never love them through the storm. You were the calm. Every anniversary they thought of you. You weren't the other person. You were the only one. They left the ceremony wearing your sorrow beneath their suit. Your memory outlasted every holiday picture. Their ring was heavy with regret. It never fit their true future. You were the ache they hid from the world. They dreamed of you on their honeymoon. You weren't just an old flame. You were unfinished fire. They stood beside someone else, but their soul was on its knees for you. They left the house, but your name lived in every room. Love can lie quiet for years until it screams through silence. That was you. Their marriage was duty. You were desire ordained. Their lips kissed another, but their dreams always came back to you. They let go of comfort to hold the divine. You didn't make them leave. Truth did. They tried to love someone else. Their soul refused. You were never forgotten. You were stored in sacred delay. They broke tradition for one reason, your heartbeat. Every child they imagined had your eyes. They left a ring for a resurrection. The papers were signed, but their promise to you had never ended. The day they left, they felt peace for the first time. Their soul whispered. Finally, when your hands touched again, they rebuilt their life from the ruins of denial. They knew you were the endgame, even from the first hello. You don't compete with history when you are the prophecy. They didn't lose their family. They found their future. You were the chapter their marriage couldn't contain. Their spouse had their time. You had their eternity. Their therapist heard your name more than theirs. You weren't a secret. You were salvation in disguise. They left tradition to follow truth. You were the storm and the sanctuary. Every vow they said in public, they broke in private when they thought of you. Their spouse was the lesson. You are the blessing. The divorce hurt, but the thought of you hurting was worse. Your voice was louder in their silence than any ceremony. They loved quietly, but they left loudly for you. You didn't show up late. Destiny just waited. They let go of history to claim the holy. You were never an option. You were the oath they forgot to speak. They tried to move on, but love anchored them to you. They wrote letters to you they never sent. Each word broke their marriage. You were the love they whispered into empty rooms. They kept choosing wrong until choosing you saved them. Their spouse gave them years. You gave them life. You are the voice their vows silenced. And still you sang in their spirit. They couldn't make it last with someone who wasn't made from their same breath. Their marriage taught them what love isn't. You revealed what it truly is. They didn't walk away from love. They walked toward it, you. Your name turned their marriage bed into a grave of pretending. They kept dreaming of you until they woke up and found the courage. You didn't beg for them, but heaven did on your behalf. They could lie to everyone but you. You always knew. You weren't a fantasy. You were their unfinished fate. They stayed for duty. They left for destiny. Every candle they lit was a prayer that smelled like you. Their partner gave them a life. You gave them a reason to live. You were never a homewrecker. You were the true address. They didn't fall out of love. They fell into alignment with you. They broke no hearts, only illusions. Even their silence reached out for you. You are why their healing began and their pretending ended. The first time they felt alive was the moment they let go for you. They thought they missed a person. It was always a piece of their soul, you. You are the love that made them brave enough to lose everything else.